You're sitting in a glass conference room, and your boss is taking his time. He's found something, a small mistake, a missed deadline, a number that came in 2% under target, and he's going to use it. He's found something, a small mistake, a missed deadline, a number that came in 2% under target, and he's going to use it. He leans back. He lets the silence stretch because he knows silence is where the fear lives, and he watches your face, waiting for it. The flinch. But it doesn't come.
Because what your boss doesn't know, what nobody in this building knows, is that 3 weeks ago you crossed a number, a quiet, invisible number sitting in an account he will never see. And the moment you crossed it, something happened that he can't fire, can't dock, can't undo. You stopped being afraid of him. This isn't a story about getting rich. It's a story about the exact moment money stops being about money and becomes the only thing it was ever really for. Power. Not over other people, over your own life. Let's talk about what actually owns you. It's not your boss. It's not your job.
It's the gap between this paycheck and the next one. That's the leash. Invisible, soft, and most people wear it their entire lives without ever feeling it, because they never once test how far it lets them walk. Here's how it works. Your rent needs your salary. Your car payment needs your salary. Your lifestyle, the one that quietly grew to match your income, needs your salary. So when your boss raises his voice, when he piles on the work, when he makes the comment that would be a fireable offense if you said it back, you swallow it, you smile, you say, of course. Not because you respect him, because you need him, and he knows it. Every manager who's ever enjoyed his power a little too much knows it. You can't say no to someone who controls whether you eat next month. The fear isn't weakness, it's math. When your survival is one missed paycheck away, fear is the only rational response. So the question was never, how do I get richer? The question was, how do I cut the leash? And the answer turned out to be smaller, quieter, and far more boring than I ever expected. There's a number. Everyone has one. Even though almost nobody calculates it. It's not your retirement number. It's not never work again money. It's smaller. It's the amount that, if your income vanished tomorrow, would let you survive. Calmly, lights on, rent paid, long enough to not panic. 6 months, a year, 2. Take your real monthly cost of living. Not the inflated one, the actual floor. What it costs to keep your life running if you stopped performing. Multiply it by 12. That's your 1-year number. For most people, it's far less than they think, because most people have never separated what they need from what they spend. And here's the part that changes everything. That number isn't about money. It's about time. A person with 1 month of expenses saved has 30 days of courage. A person with 2 years saved can look their boss in the eye and feel nothing, because the worst thing he can do to them is hand back their time. I didn't chase a fortune. I chased a runway. And the day my runway got long enough that losing this job became an inconvenience instead of a catastrophe, that was the day the leash came off. He just didn't know it yet. Building that runway looked like nothing from the outside. While my coworkers spent their raises, the upgraded apartment, the financed car, the watch that signals you've arrived, I kept my life almost exactly the same. Every promotion I banked instead of wore, because I understood something they didn't. Every dollar I spent to look successful was a dollar of runway I was setting on fire. And runway, not stuff, was the only thing that could ever make me free. So I lived below the line. The older car, the smaller place. And every month, automatically, before I could feel it, a piece of my income moved into investments and a cash buffer I taught myself not to touch. No drama, no genius. Just the most boring sentence in finance repeated for years. Spend less than you earn, and put the difference somewhere it grows. The whole time, my coworkers thought they were ahead. They had the cars, the lifestyle, the appearance of winning. What they didn't have, what they traded away every single month, was the one thing that mattered when the boss leaned back and smiled. A spine made of money. So let's go back to that glass room. He's still waiting for the flinch, still letting the silence do its work. And in another version of my life, the version where I'd spent every raise looking successful, it would have worked. The cold drop in the stomach, the scramble, the need to fix it, smooth it over, make him like me again. Because in that version, I need this job to survive, and he can smell it. But that's not the version I'm in. In this version, I'm doing quiet math while he talks. I'm thinking about the number in the account he'll never see. I'm thinking that if he fired me right now, today in this room, I'd be fine. Not happy, not thrilled. Fine. For a year, maybe 2. Long enough to find something better, build something of my own, or simply rest. And when you're fine, the whole performance collapses. The raised voice has nothing to grip. The silence has nothing to fill. The power he thought he had over me was never his. It was borrowed from my fear, and I'd quietly stopped feeding it. I didn't quit that day. That's the part people get wrong. Freedom isn't always a dramatic exit. Sometimes it's just sitting calmly in a room where you used to be afraid and noticing the fear is gone. I stayed, on my terms, because I chose to, not because I had to. And that one word, chose, changed how I walked through that entire building. Here's what nobody tells you about money. Past a certain point, it stops buying things and starts buying sentences. It buys no, it buys I'll pass. It buys actually, I disagree. It buys that doesn't work for me. Tiny sentences that cost nothing to say and everything to mean, because every one of them requires that you not be afraid of the consequences. The person with no runway can't say those sentences. They think them, then swallow them every day in 1,000 small surrenders to bosses, clients, family, anyone holding leverage over the next paycheck. And those swallowed sentences add up to a life that isn't quite yours, a life lived in apology. The number buys that back. It buys the ability to be honest, to take a risk, to leave a room, to say yes only to what you actually want. That's not a lifestyle. That's a spine, and it's by a wide margin the best thing money can buy. I won't pretend it was free. For years I looked like I was doing worse than I was. I drove the car that made people wonder. I passed on the trips and the upgrades. People assumed I was behind. Some quietly felt sorry for me. There's a strange loneliness in being underestimated, in knowing the truth and choosing not to prove it. But here's the trade, stated plainly. I gave up looking free so I could actually be free. I gave up the applause of people who didn't matter, so I could stop needing the approval of a boss who did. Looking successful is a cage with the bars on the inside. Being free is quiet and boring, and almost nobody can see it. I'll take quiet and free over loud and trapped every single time. So if you're in a job that owns you, if there's a person whose moods you manage because your survival depends on their approval, the way out isn't a bigger paycheck. A bigger paycheck just builds a longer, more comfortable leash. The way out is a number, a runway, the boring, unglamorous, life-changing gap between what you earn and what you need. Build that quietly, and one day you'll sit in a room where you used to be afraid and feel nothing. That nothing is the most expensive thing you'll ever own. This is wealth mechanics. We don't sell you the dream. We show you the gears underneath it. Subscribe, and the next time someone with power over you leans back and waits for you to flinch, you'll know exactly what it takes to make sure you don't. None of this is financial advice. It's a story meant to make you question who's really holding your leash. I'll see you in the next one.